Hello, this is Essie, the virtuous woman. And today in this video, we have a plant that my friend gave me that was not doing so good. Well, she didn't give it to me, she gave it to me to fix for her. And she wanted to throw away the old dirt, put some new soil. And so what I'm going to do is actually the plant has been doing much better since she gave it to me. It's been doing much better. It's I feel like it has more leaves. Look at this, is a baby leaf right here that has popped out. But anyway, it looks fuller to me and it looks like it has more leaves than when she gave it to me. So my plan is to take cuttings because it's just one stem. That's it, just one stem. A whole bunch of root in there. I can see it. But my plan is to take cuttings and put them in these little jars. So I think what I'm gonna do is probably put two cuttings in one jar because so they won't occupy too many of my little jars because I want to do some more cuttings of some plants that I have. And I have 24 of these and I don't want to have to order anymore. So it's going to take time for them to make root and then to start growing little leaves in there. But I really don't have to wait for them to start growing little leaves. I just need them to grow a root. And then I could take it and put it back in this pot with some new soil. So that's my plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting where the nodes are. And the nodes are these little bumps. Okay, let me see. Right. See those little bumps right there, right there, right there, right there. And so that's what I'm going to do. I see some nobes, and they don't even have a leaf. Okay, I'm going to cut this big piece right here off. Now there are several pieces on this that are close together. So I can see one right here. So I'm going to cut this one. And see, let me see, that's a node. So you need to have that little bump right there along with the leaf. And 9 times out of 10, you will see a leaf right there with that little bump because that's where the new root is going to come out of. So I'm going to put this in here. Let me take, see if I can get some more from this because they kind of bunched up here together. So let me get another one. So see, I got another one. Wait a minute. Put that in there with that one. Let's see if I can get, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, 3, 6, 9, 12. So I'm gonna try to do three in one, or maybe even four in one. So there's another one. Okay, so I'm just gonna do three in one. Let me put this in first. And um, I feel personally that it rips better in these little jars than if you put them in a cup or a mug. The only prop, the only so far plant that like really takes off and grow is the coleus plant, and they're usually in. I would usually put mine in a glass cup, and it don't have to be in this little thing. It takes off and root. But I noticed with these green leaves, pothos and philodendrons and stuff, that they do better in these little things. It keeps the air, so much air from going in there, because I think they like to be like humid and humidity. They like humidity. So like heat and kind of and wet, damp, like um, they rip faster. Make sure those nodes are underwater. I'm using distilled water, and I am going to put um, a drop of this plant food in here. I'll put 2 drops. And there you have it. It's three in there. So I don't know. I would think now you're supposed to change the water to every 2 weeks. You're supposed to pour out the water, put in some fresh water. Um, they do better that way because they're going to get algae because of them being in this clear thing, and this and the light is hitting it. Usually things grow in darkness. So if these was covered, you know, they wouldn't grow any algae. But so this one right here is 2 leaves, and they're sharing the same node. Yeah, look like if it's gonna break a loose and get its own node, it haven't done it yet. Cause I see 2 nodes, but they're so close. So I'm just gonna have to put this one in here, and then I can add another one to it. So this one has 2 nodes on there, but only 1 leaf. So I'm gonna cut this one off. Let me put in. I'm only putting 2 in here since it has 3 leaves. Come on. There. I'm trying to put one further down and it's not going. Come on. Wait a minute. Go down, go down. Didn't have to add more water to this one because, okay. There's another one with 2 nodes and 1 leaf. I'm going to cut that one off and put that in there. See, look, it's already a root trying to grow from this node. It's a dead one. Some need more water than others because the node is sitting up pretty high. And they will evaporate. The water will evaporate, especially if it's hot. It'll evaporate a lot quicker. Let me see if this one have enough water. Now, I don't know if this plant is a pothos. It looks like a pothos, but some plants that look like a pothos is not a pothos. I noticed that the leaves are long and more skinny. I think their leaves are cute, but yeah, they're long and skinny. So 1, 2, 3. So this is a little one. And then there's a baby one right here. I'll put this baby one in here with I don't think I can fit it in there. Okay. Hopefully it don't drop all the way down. The leaves are not supposed to be underwater. They'll die. Okay. There's a short one in here um, that's kind of like at the top. So we have to add more water, basically almost all the way at the top. Okay. I put more plant food in there since there's more water. Okay, so there is no more leaves, just roots. So I got 4, 2, 3, and 4. So each one has 3 except for one, it has 4, which is the little baby one in there with it. Okay, and I like this leaves because it's like variegated. I can hardly say that word. It's so cute. So I don't. I think I'm gonna put them outside because I think they would do better with the humidity outside. I think they would do better to root. So that's what I'm gonna do. Put them outside. And now I need to empty this dirt, clean this pot, and wait for those to root. The thing about it though, when they do root, they don't need to go in this big pot. The pot is going to be too big. So I'm going to have to put them in a starter pot when they root. And I can give them to her in a starter pot and let her know, that they need to grow root. They need to grow out of the starter pot before you put them in a bigger pot. And they say once a plant grows out of its pot to go up only 2 inches when you put it in the new pot, the new bigger pot, to only go up 2 inches, 1 to 2 inches. Because if it's any bigger than that, you're most likely going to get root rot because it's too much soil, not enough root, and the soil is going to be holding on to that moisture. And you're going to be thinking it's dry, but it's wet. Unless you use a moisture meter to check it, you're going to be thinking, oh, I ain't watered this plant in a week. it needs to be watered when it's still soaking wet and at the bottom in there. It's still soaking wet. So usually when you keep measuring, you have a moisture meter and you keep testing it and still say wet is over at the blue and it's still saying wet, most likely you have grit rot. It's holding on to the moisture. So I have a pothos my mother gave to me, and it was in a nice sized pot, and it didn't have any holes at the bottom. She had it out in the sun, um, and she told me I could have that. She had other nicer pothos, but she told me I could have that one, and I think that was why, because it didn't have no holes for drainage, and it looked like it was holding on to, like it was staying moist. And so I knew I had to take it out of that pot and put it in a pot with holes. And so what I did was, I don't even think it had outgrown that pot. No, it didn't. It hadn't. The roots hadn't outgrown that pot. I should have broke up the soil, which I didn't, because the soil was holding on to moisture. So I should have broke it up, but I didn't break it up, and I put it in a bigger pot, um, a slightly bigger pot. So now when I test that plant with the moisture meter, it's staying wet longer than I feel it should. But I don't water it until it's going over to dry. Because from what I know, a pothos is not supposed to be drying out completely. But there are plants that can really, you know, they say that the plants that if you're a beginner, it's forgiving plants, so it's hard to kill them. So anyway, I try to wait till they get to dry or close to dry when I test it with my moisture meter. And the thing about it is I could test it in one spot and this spot is say moist. And I test it, I move it and I move it to another spot and that spot is say dry. So I feel like the pothos she gave me is growing. It's getting longer, but I feel like it gets these leaves that is kind of yellowish color, which they say when the leaves start turning yellow is too much water. You watering it too much, or it's holding on to moisture too much. But some of the leaves it gets the yellowish color, and I'll be like, okay, I don't want to water it, you know. But I'm so glad I had a moisture meter because I could tell now what's going on in here, down up in here with the soil, if it's wet, if it's moist. Okay, so that's it for this video, but I'll keep you guys posted on these beautiful leaves and how they're doing. And when I get ready to put them in dirt, soil, I will do another video. I'm gonna try to find out what type of plant this is too, because it always helps to find out what type of plant you're dealing with, so you know exactly what type of soil to use. Because a lot of these plants, they don't use the same soil. It's not best to use the same soil for every plant. So plants like usually the pothos, you can use the Miracle Grow potting soil, but like for rubber plants, um, you need the tropical dirt. And cactus, palm trees, you probably can use tropical dirt too, but you can also use like the cactus succulent dirt. And those plants, they need to drain better. So when you go to water them, like say if you water Miracle Grow potting mix, when you water it, the water is gonna take a little longer to go down. It'll be water sitting up there, then it'll eventually go down. But if you water a tropical dirt, a plant that has tropical dirt, once you water it, it's going straight down. If you water a plant that has cactus succulent dirt, when you water it, it's going to go on down. I think the tropical dirt goes down the fastest from what I've seen. I put it in there, just go down real quick. So that's the type of dirt that cactus and palm trees and the rubber plant. I think also the fiddle leaf fig tree. I think it needs that dirt too. I have a fiddle leaf fig tree and it has peat moss. It's in peat moss. I really don't want any of my plants to be in peat moss because they say that peat moss needs to stay moist, which those plants like moisture. But if you, I think with peat moss, it needs to be watered kind of like especially when it's hot, it needs to be watered like every 3 days, I think. You need to put a little water on peat moss about every 2 or 3 days, depending on the temperature outside. And if you're going away for 3 days or a week, you can't water peat moss. And they say once it completely dries out, when you go to water it, it doesn't soak in. It just go around the sides and go down. It doesn't soak into the plant and get to the roots. So I had Google it. Google said you should not use just peat moss for soil. And some of the plants I get from the store, they are in completely peat moss. So I got one plant that's in peat moss, and I took it and put it in some soil, and I did not take that peat moss off. So it's in there, surrounded by dirt. The peat moss is in there, surrounded by dirt. And that plant, it hasn't died yet, but I feel like it's not doing the best that it could do. So, but I'm thinking about when I repot the fiddle leaf fig tree to try to get that peat moss off of there before I put it in tropical dirt. So yeah. All right. I'm trying to make these videos and so I can post them on Mondays and Thursdays, like I said. So today is Tuesday, and this video is going to go on Thursday. And then I'm going to have to make another one for Monday, which I probably could do it like Sunday night if I don't do it tonight or tomorrow. So, and I did, my friend, she gave me one philodendron cutting a while back because she just gave me more. But she gave me one philodendron cutting a while back, and I put it in one of these little, and I just like really left it alone. I think I changed the water a couple of times, but when I looked around, which was last night, it had two little leaves in there. I was so happy it had rooted because it took longer to root than the pothos did. And then the philodendron has a thinner root than the pothos. Pothos have a thick root. So it took longer, but I was so happy with it. It had two little baby leaves up in there, and it had root up in there. So I took it and I put it in a little pot. So I think it's going to do really well. I put up a picture of it on my community post. So I put the picture of it in the um, little plastic thing, and then I put a picture of it when I put it in a little pot. So I'm so happy with that. And so my friend, she gave me some more. Oh, that's another thing I need to do. What is 30 minutes? So I'm going to make another video because she gave me some more philodendrons, but she just gave me like the vine part. So I have to cut them up in little pieces, and then put them in the little jars. So I'm gonna make another video right now. That's a dog upstairs. If you heard that, it's two dogs upstairs. Okay, so I will talk to you guys in another video, and I think I'm gonna do this philodendron cuttings on my next video. So that'll be for Thursday. All right, bye.